Hey, welcome back, everybody. We got a quick little update to Premium because I just apparently forgot to do it when History Collection came out. But this is an update to the Premium Overlord deck. It still plays just about the same as the last one, with tiny tech changes and also things like adding the Messiah to the deck and all that. Little road plan for coming week. We have set 12. Set 12 is out today, but I do not have the product today, so I'm hoping to get it within the next couple days. So what's kind of looking like is probably uh, Sunday. I might be showing off what I took to the Yu-Gi-Oh event that's going on this weekend. So if you're there at the Rosemont Convention Center, I will also be there playing some really bad Yu-Gi-Oh deck, so feel free to drop in and say hi. Uh, Otherwise, I want to assume that the actual profiling will start, like the deck profiles will probably start Wednesday, maybe next Sunday. It all depends on how if the mail wants to be good with us or not. But yeah, let's get right on into it. Move this out of the way and grab you and bring you over here. So we're going to start with the grade threes. The grade three lineup hasn't changed. We're still playing two copies of V the Cross, two copies of the original The Cross, two copies of the Rebirth, and two copies of the End. So I might have been playing one extra of this before, but I think this number works perfectly fine. So the big thing with this is that you have, how do I put this? You don't want to ride this ever, like unless you're in a horrible situation. This is your end game, like this is how you are winning your game, and then these are your turn three rides. So they're the best things that you can ride, uh, and there's not a lot to say about that specifically. The deck is very straightforward. We are just attacking multiple times with Vanguard until our opponent dies. The big thing that I do with this specific version and the last specific version is I will normally ignore striding on the first turn if I go second, if I have enough damage or damage enablers to get the rebirth effect activated. That way we can get the extra force ones on Vanguard, which is very important for the Legion turn. So this is it for the grade threes. A random note that I'll say, which will be something you can take out for the grade twos. There isn't a Regalis piece in this deck. If you want a Regalis piece for this deck, you can take out one of the grade twos and it's perfectly fine. No harm, no foul, right? But right now I don't really have one just because it feels like, how do I put it? I want to have monsters that I can, or units that I can dump onto the field to lock with the rebirth, you know? So I tried to keep it more units, but there is a world where you play something like Radiance Caliber and just uh, to get some draws. Uh, Even the it's like excruciating dark or whatever it is from the Michiru deck, just to like bring two things back from grave. There's a couple like options, but I think for right now I'm just fine with not playing the Regalis piece. Moving on to the grade twos, this has changed slightly, so we still have the classic. Am I missing one? There we go. They looked exactly the same. Four copies of Igni Road. Search out your copies of the Cross. Four copies of Break Breath Dragon. It's just a really free ride, and it also lets you draw extra cards if you're able to kill stuff. And then four copies of the not so new, but the new to this deck Buy Attack Dragon. So the really cool thing about this is if it's boosted, you get to Soul Blast 1 and retire a column, which is kind of nice. But the main thing we want it for is it's a ride fixer. So you can, if you're grade 1 or less, you can, beginning a ride phase, discard this card from hand. Mind you, you can discard multiple copies of it to look at top 5 and add a grade 2 or less to hand. So it can get you into better grade 1s to ride, or it can get you into specifically Igni Road Dragon, because Igni Road is just a really he's the best ride target, so you're always making sure you're hitting the cross that you want in your hand. But yeah, that's it for the grade twos. And like I said, if you want to play a Regalis piece, I think you can cut one Break Breath Dragon and it's totally fine. I do kind of like having 4 copies of this, but you could also flip flop that. You could keep 4 Break Breath and get rid of 1 Attack Dragon. It is not that big of a deal. On to the grade ones. So we have the 4 copies of Lava Flow and the 1 copy of Dragonite in the Shot. Basically, we're searching grade threes. We're looking for grade threes. Uh, it, with this deck specifically, like it feels like other decks in premium, like they can still manage if you misride, like grade threes and stuff. But this deck is literally night and day if you misride. Like being on the the end is just horrible, or being on the Legion one when you go first is horrible. We just want to minimize that as much as we can. We have the Breath of Origin, just for that extra damage deal so that we can trigger the Rebirth skill. And of course, the 4 perfect guards, one of them being the Sanctitude. Flare Trooper Dumjit is still a very good pick for this deck. There's a world where you could like make that more regular grade 1 slots and start playing the effect Sentinels, but uh, I really like the crits that draw you a card if you damage check them. So I'm not really keen on giving up that space yet. And then you'll see when we get to triggers that we don't want to play the draw triggers. And then starter is Lizard Soldier Conroe. I mean, you can't mess with the classics, man. You just can't mess with them. Uh, Triggers, we're playing 1 copy of Drag Veda. This is very optional. So if you are looking to play a better over trigger, I would say the blue over trigger is the way to go. Personally, I just like to believe that when I do the Legion, I'll do like I'll get the 4 Vanguard attack turn, and it like the thought of it makes me so happy. I've come close to doing it once, but I was like 1 card off. But I keep it in for the thrill of getting that. Uh, the new addition is this Dragonite Janet. So this is a effect trigger for specifically Dragonic Blade Master, but they errated it, so the it gets the 10k power like the triggers have. It gets the extra shield like the new triggers have. But it also has the ability, if you damage check it specifically, you can draw a card, which is really nice because we are maxing out on critical triggers. So we would like, any extra like draws that we can get. 4 of the crit that lets you stride for discarding it, which is really nice. 3 copies of the Dragon Dancer that gives your Vanguard plus 10, just for the battle. It feels a little weird having this in 3 and this one in 1 or 4 because we are focused on striding, or we aren't as focused on striding. But there are some situations where you absolutely like do not want to give up your grade threes in hand because you could use them for the next turn. And 4 of the Heal Guardians. Just because we're searching a bunch of grade threes, I didn't want to tech in any of the random like grade 0 heals, like the ones that if you use it for G Guard, you bind another heal and you countercharge. I just wanted to keep this as consistent as I could get it. And that is it for the trigger count and the main deck. And the G zone is a little, how do I put this? A lot of it's like kind of a bluff, right? So we have the one Messiah just to get us the extra shield. Uh, and then we have 1 copy of Drachma. Drachma never comes up, but he's there if he does come up. 1 copy of the Progenitor Dragon. Also hasn't come up in a while, but if it does, it comes up. The strides that come up the most are Dumjid Valor, the the Dragon Knight Barakat, and the Zanbus Dragon. Um, we need you to move just a tiny bit, no big deal. Uh, so typically you will only stride once a game. You'll stride 0 to 1 times a game. So these are important to have just for the flexibility. These two really don't come up, but this is I pulled both of these from boxes, so I feel like a little more obligated to play them. But yeah, the stride part is kind of a bluff. Like you're for the most part like okay not striding in this deck. So the rest of the G zone and the more important part, I should say, for this specific deck is the G guards. So we have one advanced guard dragon, one copy of Selema, one copy of Absalam, one copy of Defeat Flare Dragon, and then three of the chicken. So I have it's split an even half, but honestly, you could if you were like, I kind of want more options with my G guards. Like you're like, I feel like you should be playing a second one of this, and every once in a while I do think about it. 100% you can cut out, you know, the you can cut out the progenitor, you can cut out the Zeroth, you can cut out an extra copy of any of the other strides except for harmonics. Uh, like I said, the G zone is basically a bluff. You're just using it for the G guards, pretty much. It is a very rare game where you're like, I'm gonna be striding a bit because it's just not the main focus of this deck. Uh, but yeah, that is it for this deck profile. Again, not a lot has changed, but like little things have changed, giving it like quality of life. One of the big things I'll say is uh, before I was playing the Bi Attack Dragon, I was playing the Grade 2 version of the Grade 1 that deals the damage. The big reason that we have swapped over is because the format is just a little bit faster. So there's a lot of times I can kind of expect, like if my opponent goes first and they go into like one of those history collection strides, I can expect them to put me at 4 or 5 damage, or like try to, and that I just don't even have to worry about the dealing myself additional damage because the opponent might have already dealt it to me. But that is it for the reasoning on that, and that is it for the profile. Like I said, give it a couple days. I don't exactly have the exact date for when set 12 is coming to my house, uh, but it should come soon. This will not be the last premium deck profile because there's other premium decks I've taken interested in, and I do want to uh, pick up and own because I think the decks are really cool. But that is it for today's thing. See y'all tomorrow.